G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. Spawning in on the east side of the map in the colour pink, playing as the English, we've got Calp. And on the southwest side of the map in the colour orange, playing as the Delhi Sultanate, is back once again by popular demand, we've got Moo. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We're here on Highview, a map that is known for its ridiculously long games. And it's interesting because you often wouldn't think an open map like Highview would result in long games, but it's not because the map is open that the games are long, but rather because there are so many hidden ways to attack your opponent. You're always cautious that you may be attacked. Because of that, you wall up. And because you wall up, your enemy walls up, and all of a sudden, everybody's got walls, and everybody's Imperial Age. So will we see fast Imperials out today? Who knows? But one of the things I do know is that Moo is incredibly aggressive. We have watched him play before. We've seen a game from Moo once before, and he was insanely aggressive. I am talking non-stop feudal pressure for like 25 minutes, 24 minutes. It was ridiculous. We may be in for something similar today. So, I guess without further ado, let's get into it. A fun matchup, the English versus the Delhi Sultanate. The Delhi in particular, quite good on this map, mainly because they get access to this sacred site for free. It's guaranteed, it's theirs. No questions, no takebacks. But at the same time, on the other side, they're denied a sacred site. So there's always, there's never going to be a prospect of a sacred victory. Just simply because you're so close to your enemy's production that there's just no way that you can really sustain sitting out in the corner defending this sacred site. However, there is the guarantee that you've always got a sacred site giving you gold, so it means that you're going to have scholars for a good part of this game. And the main fight is going to be about this central sacred site in the middle, which is actually a really good thing for the English, because the English love a head-on battle. The question is going to be about how good the micro for Calp comes in, and whether the Delhi Sultanate is going to be able to find an opportunity to get to Castle Age before their English opponents. The age-ups are about to come through. Calp now with a 2-minute 15, 2-minute 16, 2-minute... Come on, Calp, get it down. Where is it at? Not the fastest, but it's still pretty damn quick, these age-up timings. They should be around this time. He's already gathered up enough. He's actually dropped off a little bit ahead of schedule rather. 16 seconds late on that age up, which is, I mean, it might not seem like a lot, but think about it, right? Like, if you've got 16 seconds free gathering on this wood line, well, you're happy, aren't you? So that's the difference that it makes. But now we've got the age up coming through from Moo. Which landmark will he look to go? It's going to be the Tower of Victory, the landmark that is known for feudal aggression. So expect to see big things out of him today. Now, if you're expecting big things from me, you can definitely be certain there's going to be a lot of content coming your way as the Sultans ascend. Well, it's ascending. We'll say that much. It's it's currently sitting at about 20%. It'll be up soon. And if you're looking forward to it, make sure you leave a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel because it really helps out the channel. And of course, make sure you keep up to date with any of that Sultans Ascending content that is going to be happening soon. I tell you what, I'm so excited for it. I can't wait to be able to share with you guys the content that I'm going to be producing. If you've got any ideas for content, let me know. Leave a message down in the comments. I'll make sure that I'm reviewing it. But at the moment, the plan is just going to be obviously guides. There's going to be a lot of guides for each of the civilizations. That's going to be a big thing, and they're just going to be general guides, right? Like here's a build order that works at the Conqueror 3 level, and how you can adapt it, that sort of thing. We're obviously going to be doing a lot of casted games for those civilizations, and we might, if you're lucky, even do some first-person perspective gameplay as well. But if you've got any other ideas, do let me know, as of course the world is our oyster now that we've got 6. Can you believe it? 6 new civilizations. I just can't believe it. I can't fathom it. The fact that we're going from 10 to 16. The possibility of so many more matchups. It's I'm thankful. I'll say that much. Anyway, speaking of thankful, down on this south side of the map, Moo is going to be thankful about these upgrades coming in for free, because once he hits Feudal Age, there's going to be even more of them coming through right now. You can see that the wheelbarrow has finished. The Tower of Victory up. Nice little timing, 4 minutes and 20. And of course, we've got those upgrades coming through. Hopefully he doesn't skip a beat here. And we've got the mining coming through. We've got the double broadaxe coming in. But one thing to note is he hasn't actually switched over from survival techniques to horticulture. Normally you see players do that. So is he looking to come out onto the hunt early? Could be. He's got a nice little back hunt here actually. So this could be an option for him. But expect to see early units out on the other side of the map. Calp actually going with a bit of a slow age up here. A little bit more of a delayed play style. I do like this. And one of the things to note is that playing as the English if you go for a super duper early age up and all of that jazz, you're not going to be able to spam the same amount of units out as if you go for this kind of delayed age up, where you just kind of sit here and you wait, and then once you've aged up, then all of a sudden, boom, that's it. And we can see that he's got the 3 farms here, which will be giving him that nice little food income. And then at the same time, villagers on gold, which to me indicates we're in for ourselves a little bit of a feudal game right here. Now the spearman. This looks like it's going to be a scout kill early on. Little bit of a mistake coming out from Mu. In fact, I'm not going to say little bit. It's a huge mistake. That is a massive mistake. Losing the scout this early, he now loses access to know what's my enemy doing. Is my enemy heavy on gold? How many vills is my enemy on gold? Has he got a second TC? Is he scaling? Is he thinking about going to castle age? Is he adding men-at-arms yet? Is he throwing down 2 extra barracks to switch into men-at-arms? These are questions that he's not going to know unless he trains a new scout. So it's going to be imperative that he gets one out on the map, and we see that coming through. Really, really nice to see. Ghazi Raiders, of course, going to be the first thing that come out here for Mu. It's going to guarantee that he's got the ability to take out any longbows that get too far away from any spears, and at the same time, put some pressure towards the enemy side of the map. And we can see he's beginning to make his way around the backside of the enemy base, rallying towards that gold. He's fearful. He's fearful that there's going to be upgrades on the way through. He knows that there is a reality that this is going to be a feudal fight, because Kaup in particular is known for his aggression. I will say that much. I have watched many Kaup games, and he is big on aggression. So I'm expecting this is going to be an absolute... This is going to be an absolute fiesta in the feudal age. But Scout, once again, under pressure. Kaup doing a good job to get in over towards the enemy base, but we do see now more and more units trickling across. He's very happy. Slowly behind this, we do see him adding in more and more, but there they are, the first Ghazi Raiders. At the same time, a counter-attack. Not really a counter-attack, but another raid on the other side of the map, and it looks like it's going to be one villager that goes down. So far, one villager over towards Mu. Kaup going to be down a vill early on in this game. Though, technically, he's up a villager. I don't know how he managed to do that. How has Mu killed a villager, but he's down 2 villagers? I don't know exactly what happened there, but anyway. Maybe... There must have been idle time. There must have been idle time from Mu. There's no other explanation for it. So, perhaps... and that's quite a bit of idle time as well. One thing to note is if you're 1 to 2 villagers down, that's a lot. That's a lot more than 0 to 1 villagers down. But, Ghazi Raiders now outnumbered by the spearmen as they begin to make their way down from that north side. You can see that he's applying pressure to this top side. Wants to make sure that sacred site isn't captured easily. He wants to make sure that he keeps his enemy off that sacred site. Now, the longer this game goes on in the feudal age, the better it gets for the Delhi Sultanate. However, there becomes a point where it actually becomes better for the English player. And that point, it's quite far along in the feudal age. If I was to be realistic, I'd say like maybe at the 24, 25 minute mark. And that's when you've got so many farms that you can just pump men-at-arms non-stop. And the men-at-arms are really good. But they're only good once you can mix in spearmen with them, because that way they can kill the Ghazi Raiders really effectively. It's a bit of a delicate balance, but essentially, the English have the advantage the longer this goes in feudal, on the condition that we're talking 25 minutes. Because in the short term, the Delhi Sultanate definitely have the advantage here, and Kaup, he is going to be doing everything he can to try and keep himself alive in this game early on. But now the Ghazi Raiders catching out a couple of units out of position. Look at the numbers difference between them. The archers and the Ghazi Raiders will inevitably catch these units. The longbows are just way too slow. He's just got to make sure he doesn't lose the enemy units in this stealth forest. You can see he's trying his best. He's got the scout there with him as well. He'll be absolutely fine. So nice little victory here early on for Mu. Did lose out the scout early on, but seems like he's going to be able to quickly turn the tide here, and it looks like the single last spearman is down here. So very, very nice positioning here for Mu, and he should be able to leverage this victory into capturing that sacred site, and we do start to see him moving towards that west side. Kaup should have 1 or 2 longbows in here, ready to deny this. Let's have a look and see. No, he doesn't. Instead, they're just going to be sitting in the middle of the map, so not going to be able to deny this sacred site. We do see that there's going to be a cleanup on that south side. Everything's been taken out except for the scout, as you would expect. And now Mu making his way towards 50 population. Not a bad little army that he's got so far. Keep in mind, it's quite Ghazi Raider heavy. And it's going to be... The emphasis here is going to be largely on the micro. It's going to be careful not to lose too many units. And I'm curious how many scholars we see him move into, because I feel like the wise choice here is just 2. 2 scholars is perfect, and save the gold for the age up. realistically, when it comes to food, we can see that he's got a lovely food source behind the base. But will it be enough to get to Castle Age? Probably not. Might need to move out towards these berries as well. But I think this is more than enough to justify getting up to Castle Age. And then once you're in the Castle Age, you know, you can talk about your knights, talk about your lancers, talk about the men-at-arms, the crossbows. That's the good stuff. But until then, he's going to have a tough time as Cap begins to put on the pressure. And these villagers, why are these villagers so far away from home? I just realized he's got these villagers out in no man's land. And he's got to be careful, though, because the numbers are pretty decent here for the defense. Moo's trying to pick off those units. But each player trades out the scouts for each other. And now we've got a bit of neutralization over on that west side. So a distinct lack of walls here over on this west corner. And as a result, that sacred site will be neutralized by Cap. Archer's going to push forward. Remember, they've got that extra attack speed from the Tower of Victory. Not to mention these Ghazi Raiders going to do very well against any of these ranged units. They get that extra little bit of damage. I say extra little bit of damage. They get double damage. They got a DD rune on them right now when they're up against that. But Sacred Site, it's neutralized. You know, when I said double damage rune, I remembered back to playing Quake. I don't know if you guys have ever played Quake. I'm talking like, I think it was Quake 3? I can't remember if it was, no, it was, oh gosh. Unreal Tournament. I remember playing with my dad. I played so many games with my dad. Obviously, TA, Total Annihilation, I played with Dad. We played StarCraft, Dark Reign, all that good stuff. But we also played shoot-'em-up games or FPS games. And I remember playing, I think it was Quake, and you got, it was kind of like runes, right? Like you'd get double damage. And I just remember the announcer. Actually, was it the announcer? Maybe it's the announcer of Hon. And he'd be like, double damage. It was more like double damage. Anyway, that's where my mind went. And then I thought about Joe Rogan, because I'm pretty sure Joe Rogan played Quake. And so, you know how the brain goes. You have one thought, and then 6 seconds later, you're 1,000 thought spots ahead of where you once were. Anyway, Sacred Site in the west. Now looking to be recaptured. Mu hopefully doesn't make the same mistake twice. Needs to get some walls up out here, because this will keep happening unless he somehow manages to build up these walls. And as I said, like, you just need a wall across here and a wall down. If you really want, you can throw the wall out to here, but it's going to be inevitable that you need to continue that wall on. Whereas if you just put the wall in the corner, then you don't have to worry about it too much. But move on as the archers begin. Trying to pick off a couple of spearmen on the front here. We'll do a decent job. There's the first one. There's the second one. Look at the Ghazi Raiders around the north side. We enter into the cinematic mode as it is time to witness the power of the Ghazi Raider. Archer's doing a decent job, but they're massively overkilling each of these spears here. Ghazi Raider's getting very good value, and you can see that Kalp right now looking to take inspiration from a previous game we've watched him play where he literally made only longbows. And oh my god, he's actually transitioning into it. Look at this. Not a single spear. Okay, there's a reason why he's doing this. If you build up to a critical mass of longbows, you don't have to worry about making spearmen. Because the idea is that the longbows can one-shot the Ghazi Raiders, and that is your anti-cavalry. And as long as you just kite, granted, you need things like your outpost down here, and that's going to give you that extra attack speed. It's possible to do, but I would recommend against it on a map like this. A map where you don't have any vision of your opponent, when literally they could just be hiding here, or hiding here, or hiding here. They can be hiding anywhere. And that's what you've got to be so careful of. And look at this. The way he's approaching these walls. Oh my god, this is so scary. Like, there could be Ghazi Raiders coming right from here. But we do see a bit of beginning of a transition. Count moving into men-at-arms, and this is the perfect time. Oh my... Wait, what? Wait, hold on. What does this do? Doesn't this improve the line of sight range of scouts or something silly? Campfire... Nearby campfire increases sight range by 30%. Oh my god, we're seeing the campfire strategy. Look at him go. Oh, no way. This English strategy is next level. Oh my god, he's setting a campfire. Oh, this is big. Oh, this is... Oh my lord, I can't believe what we're about to witness, ladies and gentlemen. It is happening. The campfire strategy is here. Does Moose spot it out? He sees the campfires in there and he looks to focus them down. The men-at-arms are going to be turned around. He only made the men-at-arms for the campfire. That's all he wants, and he continues to kite backwards away. He's got to be careful about these Ghazi Raiders, but you can see just how much damage he does, teeing off towards each of those units, taking out so much of the health. Campfire's back here. It's got that extra little bit of line of sight. You never thought this upgrade would be used. Well, I was wrong. You were wrong. We were all wrong. I can't believe that we're seeing this, but now Kalp continues pumping out those longbows non-stop. He's got a good number of them. Extra attack speed coming through now, and he continues to kite back. Beautiful formation control. He's got to be careful. He's outnumbered a decent amount here, almost double the amount of units his enemy's got, but as you fight closer towards that town center, the reinforcements come in thicker, faster, and now just literally making only longbows. As long as you've got that campfire, You are absolutely fine. And look, this is, I can't believe it, because this is what we were talking about, right? The fact that you do not have vision inside these stealth forests. So you've got to be so careful. But the reality is you can keep vision in these stealth forests if you've got campfires. And now we see the next men-at-arm coming in. He's literally making just one men-at-arm. That's it. A single men-at-arm. And the men-at-arm's going to come in and it's going to set up the camp. Oh, expensive though. 25 wood. You really want to be putting 25 wood down on each of these? I guess it can work. And it doesn't count as a unit. We can see right now that he's going to be able to move forward. I remember thinking that, it increases the sight range of nearby units by 30%. Maximum of 5 campfires can be lit at one time. Placing an additional campfire extinguishes an older one. A little bit of a raid up towards that north side. I can't believe we're actually seeing this ability get used today. This is ludicrous. This is absolute insanity. All right, continuing to tee off towards the archers. Calp's just going to have a field day here, picking off the archers of the enemy. The main thing that he's got to be careful of is that Ghazi Raider threat. We've talked about it before, the fact that they can just come out of nowhere. But if you know where they're coming from, and if you can see them, you can prep to take them out. As long as your enemy doesn't hit that critical number. By the same token, Mu can look to do something similar. And it's almost an arms race that we've got right now, because the Ghazi Raider is really good against ranged units. The problem is, if the longbows reach critical mass, and you're able to pick off the Ghazi Raiders one by one, the reality is even just like a handful of spearmen mixed in can be a huge problem for you. So you're left with the decision, do I go into Ghazi Raiders or do I just make lots and lots of archers? And we can see that Mu is actually trending towards the latter of those two. And because of that, we've now got an arms race, an archer arms race, where Calp's making archers, Mu's making archers. And just remember, Mu's archers aren't any ordinary archer. These archers have got extra attack speed on them, so it's not as even as you might think it would be. And the other thing to note is that archers are pretty damn good against longbows, but they need to have the number advantage significantly. That's the trick. You need to get right up on top of them, outnumber them by a huge amount, and then just unleash the bows. That's the way that you do it. But the trouble is, against the English, once they know that you're just going mass archer, they've got a special trick up their sleeve. It's the men-at-arms. And now they can start mixing in men-at-arms, and now you've got to make a decision. Do I kite the men-at-arms? Do I just try and fight against the longbows? How am I going to play this? And you can see where the trouble begins. So definitely, there's two options open to you. I would almost be tempted to go into Ghazi Raider, just because it's about reacting to what you see rather than to what you suspect. But as I mentioned, even just a handful of spears can really set it off if you're going full Ghazi Raider. But right on board now with Mu. As he looks to defend up against his opponent. Ghazi Raiders making their way back. He's about to walk into a whole bunch of battering rams, surrounding them completely. The longbow numbers are huge. Calp going to do his best to try and take out these archers, and you can see that even though there's only about 10 difference between them, the advantage significantly rests with Calp. Defense looking pretty solid at the moment. He's going to be able to chase away these longbows, continuing to try and get up on top of them, doing the right thing. You can see him trying his best to get in right next to these longbows. The longbow's doing a wonderful job at kiting. He's got beautiful formation coming out here, and eventually Mu realizes it's just too many. He can't deal with it, but he's going to try and stick to it anyway. The battering rams are still back here, just kind of chilling out for the moment, just absorbing any reinforcements. The one thing to note that I will disagree with is the lack of outposts. A single outpost here just 5 minutes ago would have changed a lot of these fights. It would have given you that extra attack speed, and that's one of the big factors that we see in this fight that is actually going the way of Mu in this situation. So Calp going to have to head back to the drawing board, maybe decide whether he wants to throw down that outpost or not. I would be advocating for it, though. And now, decent micro. He manages to defend. Once again, the men-at-arms. The single men-at-arms comes out and says, hey, how's it going? Don't come around these parts, please. We bring the UI back in. Let's take a look at how Mu is doing over on that west side of the map. Production looking pretty solid. Still, at the moment, he's sitting on 7 scholars. So instead of investing those resources into going into Castle Age, he says, I'm instead going to invest them into scholars, which is interesting because he's paying full price for these scholars. These are expensive boys. You can see right here, 130 gold for each of them. That's a lot of resources that you're paying that you could have gone to Castle Age with at this point. But I guess food's always going to be an issue for you. But there's plenty of food out here on the map. That fight's going to continue, though. The Ghazi Raiders coming in from the top side. No spearmen here at all. No spearmen on the map. Ghazi Raiders should be okay, especially considering the lack of numbers. And now Calp going to be trying his best to clean up these units, but unfortunately, he is not having a good time. Let's check in with Calp, though, and see how the base is doing. The farm numbers starting to increase. He's picked up all of his relevant tier 1 upgrades. He's got 2 vils on gold, and that's all he needs at the moment. We'll switch it over to income because we're 20 minutes into this game, and it's probably been worth doing it for the last 5 at least. Archer numbers once again going to start to build. And it looks like the longbows really don't seem to be doing well against the archer mass that Moo's built. And I can't help but feel like that's contributed largely just because we don't see that outpost. That outpost is the real difference here. If we saw an outpost, all of these fights have got longbows with extra attack speed. And that extra attack speed means more shots between movement, and more shots between movement means more archers that are dead. So I think it definitely makes a lot of sense. But at the same time, you could also make the argument that it doesn't really affect him a huge amount because he's doing a lot of kiting. And so naturally, you want to fire and then move and fire and then move. And, well, he's going to be able to move more in between his shots. So it's, I guess there's that argument that you could make as well. But we do start to see men-at-arms making their way down towards the south side. I'd love to see the ability to have more than five campfires be lit. That would be a really cool English ability, to have, like, just campfires over the entire map and the obligations of the enemy to clear them up. They're expensive, right? Like, they're 25 wood each, so they're not cheap. If you want to do it, go for it, but it's a lot of resources. Men-at-arms going to be looking for a raid. Ghazi Raiders looking for a raid as well. Villagers managed to escape before any damage gets dealt. We'll check in with Moo on this south side, and you can see he's got villagers sitting here. Men-at-arms come out of the forest. He's under attack in the main base. Let's see whether he realizes. It's going to take some time. There we go. He picks it up straight away. Meanwhile, towards that raid, looks like Moo will lose 3 Ghazi Raiders. Nice damage coming in there. Kaup so far. He's lost 6 workers. Down 2 villagers against his opponent. We're right on board with Kaup now. As those men-at-arms manage to idle just a little bit of those villagers. And now you can see why these English villagers are so wonderful to deal with raids. Yeah, they're almost immune to raids, at least at this stage of the game. Ghazi Raider's going to be coming in. She'll be able to clean this out. He's got all of his +1 upgrades. In fact, both players have got all the upgrades, all the relevant upgrades. The only one we're really missing is a specialized pick. But, you know, we don't need specialized pick, do we? We don't need it at all. All right. Push coming out now from the longbows. He's only making longbows. Keep that in mind. At this point, I would just like to say, Moo should have gone Castle Age. He should have gone Castle Age 6 minutes ago, 7 minutes ago, probably even more than that. And he's had a pretty decent opportunity to do that, especially after winning some of these fights. And I feel like the longer he stays here, the bigger the advantage gets towards the English. Archer's moving forward. He's got to be careful the longbows step a little bit too far forward. And now he's going to try his best to kite backwards towards his baits. Keep in mind, he's got the campfires here. They provide that little bit of extra line of sight. If we look on board with him, you can see that he has beautiful line of sight throughout this forest. He's going to continue kiting back. Even the longbows on the back have got the ability to fire, so it doesn't really need to be in that line formation, but you can see the numbers are looking really poor for him. A couple of spears getting mixed in as well. Looking to try and bring them back out onto the field. The spears make their way up. Got to be careful not to lose them, though, as they move forward. So as the archer numbers begin to build, this is where the men-at-arm threat becomes real. So I feel like at this point now, mixing into the men-at-arms for Kaup is the wise decision. But look at this. Just queuing up only archers at this point. I feel like I'm subscribing to a website, only archers, and all I get are just pictures of different bows, different angles of the bows, and different lengths of the bow. Oh, God. What have I done? Anyway, that's not a website I would visit. That's for sure. Anyway, 62 vills against 61. Significant difference in military count. We will say that much. The odds are stacked against Kaup, but the one thing he's got going for him is he's got the longbows, and most importantly, he's got the campfires, or at least he finally. 23 minutes into feudal age, and Kaup's like, you know what? Yeah, we can do an outpost. 23 minutes, I'll do an outpost for you. I'll let you have it. Huge forces now coming through, though, in the middle of the map. Moo looking to try and pick a fight here with Kaup. Kaup on the defense. Finally going to have this outpost coming up, getting that extra attack speed. Will it be enough to make the difference? That's what we're about to find out. A huge difference between the armies of these two players, and Kaup on the defensive here. Looks like it's going to be tough for him. He just stands still underneath the outpost. He says, let's do it. Let's do it. You want to dance? We'll happily do it. And immediately you can see Moo falling back. He says, no. I cannot, sir. Once again, another great opportunity here for Moo to go Castle Age. Moo, I love that you play such an aggressive feudal style, but there becomes a point where it can hurt you rather than help you. Continuing to push forward, we see the next outpost being thrown down. I was going to bring back the UI, but I'm going to send it back to the Shadow Realm. It's time to banish you, UI. We hear a counterattack somewhere out over on the east side. I'm not sure exactly what that is. Maybe a Ghazi Raider or two behind the scenes. Still not fighting with this influence. And because of that, we can see that there's a pretty decent fight that you can be taking as the Delhi player. And that's exactly what he does. But he's got to be careful to avoid overextending. This is not a fight that you want to be taking against an English player. They've got that extra attack speed able to match you and your Tower of Victory. But they do a lot more damage. They got a lot more range. And you can see those reinforcements going to continue to come in. It is the Archer Wars right now. This is getting a little bit ridiculous. There are so many archers on this field right now. Neither player looking to really break the stalemate yet. Kaup with 31 to 46 archers, so at the advantage the Delhi player is, but still, you've got to expect that the Delhi player will maintain the advantage just simply because they should have the numbers advantage. They have cheaper units, so it's normal for them to do that. The other thing to note, though, is we've got 10 Ghazi Raiders. If these guys came forward and took out these longbows, it would pretty much be game over at this point. Because you could just push and finish with rams or just go castle for free. There's a lot of options for you. Where are those Ghazi Raiders? They're raiding right now. Oh, this is... I mean, he's taken out a fair few villas. I'll give him that. You can see 16 workers taken out so far. Kaup trying to hold on in this game. Mu doing a pretty decent job. The longer this goes on, though, it worries me. He's doing I guess he's doing the right thing, but he could clean this up. Like, you could literally just bring these guys back now and just kill everything. Villagers up towards this north side. Very cute. He's got to be careful. Oh my, oh, look at the archer numbers. Oh gosh. Oh, Mu wasn't paying attention. I think this is a huge mistake from Mu. A bit of an attack over on the wood line. He's actually losing the Ghazi Raiders to the villagers. I gotta say, I don't agree with it. Now remember, Mu's a good player, right? Like, both of these guys, Conk 3 players. But it just goes to show that even at the Conk 3 level, there are big differences between, say, the top level of Beastie and that Conk 3 level, that top 100 sort of level. All right, well, Kaup looking to push up. Outpost is down. He's going to extend out that influence. Men-at-Arms looking to throw down the campfire. We haven't seen too many campfires thrown out recently. Do we get to see an additional one? Come on, give us a campfire right now. I want to see it. Has he even got the upgrades? Early Men-at-Arms? Oh, yeah, it is. It goes from Vanguard to early. Okay. So he's got the upgrade for it. And you can see the archers having a tough time. This is where the advantage comes in right now. The Men-at-Arms are able to tank so much of the damage. The archers have to focus them down. And when they're focusing the Men-at-Arms down, they're not killing the longbows. And the longbows are just maintaining this gap. They always have this beautiful gap that they've got against the enemy archers. That 2-range gap. So really well played. Now starting to pick off villagers as well. Mu had a slight lead up until this point, but we can see that starting to dwindle here. Archers managing to move right up, able to take out those villagers before the outpost is completed. And now doing a decent job. This has been non-stop. We're 29 minutes or 27 minutes through this game right now. It is ludicrous just how long these two are willing to play it out in feudal. Neither player wants to give anything away. Even though both of these players have large enough masses that if they wanted to go to Castle Age, they could and still defend easily. For the English player, all he'd do is just go Castle and then click Veterancy, and congratulations, you've held. And for the Delhi player, all he does is make one round of Lancers, and he's held. So Castle is still definitely on the cards for both of these players. The question is going to be whether they find it. And it kind of looks like Mu's looking towards it, but look at the gold. He's got no villagers on gold whatsoever. It's just that passive 125 gold coming through. And that's where I feel like this is a game that may be doomed for him, even though he's lost a lot of, or not as, he's managed to take out more villagers than his opponent. It just doesn't feel good. Archers moving up. Ghazi Raiders doing a decent job, continuing to fall back into the outpost on that north side. The villagers just chilling out for the moment on those berry bushes remain uncontested. Kaup completely unaware of them. And as he would, I mean, realistically, who's thinking that you're going to be taking berries over here? Really smart move. And now, we're right on board with Mu. Score difference between these guys. Less than 100. Well, almost 100 between them. Yeah, less than 100 between them. They are pretty damn close. I feel like Mu wants to go for it, but he just... I know that he knows he can't. Not right now. Not when there's this pressure at your door. Not when you've lost this many consecutive fights. Taken these bad trades. Needs to get stables out. Honestly, more and more stables at this point. Just going to big Ghazi Raider numbers. If you're going archers up against these Men-at-Arms, they're just going to soak so much damage. Keep in mind, the Men-at-Arms have got 4 armor. You're up against you've got a unit with 6 damage. It means you're doing 2 damage a pop. They've got 120 health. That's 60 shots you need. That means you're going to 2-shot them, which is perfect. But look at this, the archers. or longbowmen rather, able to take out all of the villagers on the front line. Now the Ghazi Raid is going to try and make their way through. He's got the attack speed bonus. 41 longbows at the moment up against these archers. The villagers do work in taking out that battering ram, but he has lost a lot, and you can see him still picking them off on that backside. The longbows continue to kite backwards. He's having an absolute field day, trying to kite away from that enemy production. The Ghazi Raiders will both go down. The longbow numbers are still pretty solid at this point. He's maintaining this mass, and now able to hold against this Delhi player. The wood line is under threat, and you can see the idle villagers down here on this south side. Once this is exposed, the game is over, because you can't make any more archers, and if you can't make any more archers, how can you defend? Realistically, there's no wood at all on this top side of the map for him. It all lends towards the center. And you take a look at the spawn on the other side of the map for Kaup, and Kaup's got this forest, he's got this forest, he's got this one over here. He's having a field day. It's a big difference in spawns for these players. But now Kaup looking to push through. And this is, for the first time this game, he's got the number advantage when it comes to longbows. 46 against 35. Mu doesn't have the numbers. He can't compete. He's trying his best to get the Ghazi Raiders out to the front line, but a nice little job of kiting. Villagers. Nowhere to repair this outpost. And the kiting continues. They've got that extra attack speed coming through. I think this might be game. I don't think Mu can hold this. Because once this army dies, that's it. There's nothing to stop this longbow mass from rampaging the door. We've literally just witnessed a 30-minute feudal fight that's ended. How many archers were in this game? How many archers died this game? How many archers didn't need to die this game? Poor little archers, fellas. I hope you've enjoyed this game. Make sure you go and check out Kaup. I'll leave a link in the description to where you can watch him live over on Twitch. And make sure you check out the Sultan's Ascend. I'm going to leave a pinned comment on this video with a link to the Sultan's Ascend over on Steam. Go check it out, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.